and police like to demonize everybody as a gangbanger. You know, everybody's part of a gang, and that's the mentality that goes on in the city, which makes me angry. But we wanted to focus on those same areas to say, how do we bring you together so that, you know, people, I mean, the first game we had a year ago in 2012, for instance, when the Killer War was going to have a team, we had to go pick them up in a bus and bring them to 78th and Racine. We had to go pick up the molds from Gage Park and bring them. Now that that barrier's been broken down, people coming back and forth to the games on their own. They respect, they know they're different branch friends. On Sunday afternoons, we do a thing where, actually this guy, we hired 4 people who were formerly of the 4 gangs to work for us. And we paid them $31,000 a year, to one for each of those particular 4. And they work on creating peace and building relationships on the street. But, so that's our focus, is those groups, because that's where the tension is, and that rivalry. But anybody can be a part of it from the neighborhood. Because we got some people from the hundreds that come in. We have some people from around Englewood and 66th Street and 67th Street to come in. So anybody can go for the league, particularly now. Like last time we had our last, for this present 12-week thing we're in right now, we did a draft, as I mentioned, about 2 weeks ago. We had about 160 people show up for 80 slots. So now there's more and more brothers from the neighborhood trying to be a part of it. But to get one of those slots, you have to make a commitment that you're making a choice for peace and not violence. If you're not in school, we got to get you back in GED class or CPS's past programs. And we have a few kids at Harper on that, or whatever it might be to get you back. Because our thing is all this. It's not just to stop violence. You know, that's the mentality of the police department, how we can lower the numbers and look better and stop the violence. My mission from the beginning of this thing has been, how do we brush the dust off young people's dreams and help them reach their potential? For instance, there was one guy says to me, he always wanted to be a fireman, and he had a record and all this stuff in the neighborhood. He's now studying in the academy for the Dairy Fire Department. Another guy wants to be a cook. We're getting him in a cooking school. He was on Marshfield. He's been identified by the police as a kill war for the last 3 years. He's now getting ready to start in a cooking school that's sponsored by Art Smith, who runs Table 52 in Chicago. So it's, how do we get you into what's your passion, what's your dream, what do you want to be, and help you reach your future? Real focus of our group is, although we have a lot of people who are in school, but our focus, my focus is, in Chicago they say there's 60,000 kids your age who are either dropped out, pushed out, kicked out of high school, who just are on the streets every day. Now the city says there's 60,000, so my guess is if the city says there's 60,000, there's probably 80 or 90,000. My job is, how do we reach those kids? I mean, I like the BAM program and all that, that's great, but the BAM program and stuff is pretty much geared to high school kids. And that's great, but what about the kids who are not in school? What about the kids who feel disenfranchised and cut off, and the street is the only thing they can call their class every day? So that's been a main focus of ours. That's a long answer to your question, it's just gangs, but it's everybody. It's everybody. Yes, sir.
Do you feel like the mayor's lock them away and throw away the key? Like that's his initiative. Do you think that helps at all?
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, what bothers me is that we say that we can't police our way out of this violence program, but the truth of the matter is most money goes to law enforcement and to prison and stuff like that, not to intervention and prevention and alternatives. So, you know, we keep locking folks up and to a jail system that answers nobody's problem, that makes problems worse. So my thing is offering options. I say that and look at where money is spent in the state and in the city, and unfortunately it's more towards law enforcement than to prevention. But that's not the answer at all. Anybody else? Any questions, comments? August. Yes.
How about, since you said the gangs over there, whatever, how you gonna keep it out of the school?
How are we gonna keep them out of the school?
How do you keep the gang members out of the school?
Well, I think two ways. I think one is if you, a lot of stuff that comes into the school, not all of it, some of it starts in the school, a lot of it is street stuff that comes into the school and then creates or continues in the school or after school. So I think it's creating an atmosphere in the neighborhood where it's not acceptable. I'll tell you real honestly where I am. Right now where I'm at is I have zero tolerance for shooting. Zero tolerance. I mean, none whatsoever, shooting or killing. I lost a son, my 17-year-old, I adopted 3 African American sons. My youngest son was killed in '98 at 79th and Carpenter by some random shooting gang running down the street. And shot, he gets a bullet in the neck. I'm just finishing a wedding at the church. They call me, I go running over there, he's laying at 79th and Carpenter on the corner, blood gushing out of his neck. I'm going to hold the blood there until the fire department comes. That's on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock, he dies Monday morning. So it's very personal to me, plus I've buried a whole lot of young people. So the shooting thing, Blair Hope, which some of you might remember, who was killed on a bus when coming from Julian High School. His mom was a part of my school. Darian Albert, when he was beaten up, and spoke at his funeral, and about 20 other people aged from 13 to 17. So the violence thing is non-negotiable to me. There's never a good reason to shoot or kill anybody. And people say, well, no, somebody in the GD shot the BDs, now they got to retaliate. You can never get even. You can never ever get even. Always there's somebody behind trying to catch up. So there's no win in the violence game. There is no win and there's no ahead. You get your name and a word on the street, you get some respect that you shot somebody for a week, and then you're going to somebody else's name is out there. And the result of the reality is, with the violence thing, I believe the system says, you go ahead and keep shooting each other. Just guess what? You shoot each other in the street. Somebody gets killed, you go to a cemetery. We don't have to worry about you anymore for how you eat, your health, or anything else. Or you go to jail, and then you build this prison system, which is now being privatized, and one of the main investors in the prison system in our country now are the gun industry. So they're selling the guns, making money from the guns, and then making money from folks that get arrested from the guns and are going to prison. So there's no zero tolerance with me for shooting. But if we gotta offer options, so if in the street we create an atmosphere where groups know each other, stop the violence, do intervention, try to get jobs, try to get back in education system, that creates a lot of the peace that can come into the school. But there's also got to be in the school that same kind of work, the same kind of, I believe strongly in peace clubs and conflict resolution and peace circles and all that kind of stuff. So we understand we live in a crazy, crazy, crazy world today where violence becomes our first line of offense. So I'm mad at you, and I got a gun, I'm going to pull out a gun on you. Or I'm going to, threaten you. Or jump on you, because that's the way we talk. What the hell? When do we get there? And I understand that because as a nation we do that. Look at 9/11. We started out at 9/11, 2 buildings go down in New York, the whole world's praying. There's no church and state separation. Everybody's at church. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, every day is a church the next day. 3 days later, what do? We bomb Iraq. We always wanted to get in and start shooting. Now we have, even under Obama, who I love and respect, we have more drones than we ever had in the history of our country right now. We're all itchy to get into Ukraine and war or Syria or whatever. That's how we think as a country, that's how we act, we bomb. So it's not surprising that trickles down, that's how we now are on the street. So we now, and if people have guns, they use them. So violence has to be, we have to get that out of our thought pattern. The first way I react, if I'm mad with this, what's your name? Pardon me? Zari. If I'm mad with her, My first thing isn't to jump on her, put a gun on her, is figure out, okay, let's deal with our beef with each other. You know, you got a mind in the voice, I got a mind in the voice, let's talk it out. So until we get to that point where we learn how to squash all the stupid stuff, because people get shot and killed over stupid stuff. You know, I remember last summer there was a guy that got shot because he had gone over from Foster Park and gone over near Marshfield. They shot him because he was over in Kilgore territory. He's a mole. Are you serious? First of all, you don't own a damn thing here. So what are you talking about? Your territory? You don't own nothing. You living with your mama. But your mama come shoot somebody if they're going to shoot. But you shooting over something you don't own and you're trying to pretend like this is your block? Give me a break. I had 4 kilo awards I picked up one day in my car because there were all this fighting about Marshfield and 79 to 76. This is ours and nobody coming over here, nobody going to touch this. So I went over and picked the 4 of them up in my car. They were standing out there on the block. I picked up my car. I said, come on with me. Give me a half hour of your time. I'll buy you lunch. So we get in the car. I said, started at 79th. I drove all the way down Marshfield from 79 to 76. I said, look at this block. Describe to me as we stop every 60 feet what you see. Oh, empty lot here, boarded up building here, garbage in the front lawn here. I said, right all the way through it. I said, okay, so this is what you're fighting to keep and defend. It looks like a third world country in Marshfield. But you go fight and shoot for this. So I said, come on with me. We get in the car, we drive downtown. I go up to LaSalle, Washington. I park the car. Cops said, you can't park. I said, give me 20 minutes. I get out and I came out. I said, look at this building here. See what this building is? It's called City Hall. Now, if you want to run something, this is what you want to run. Ain't nobody give a damn about what you're doing on Marshfield. I'm trying to, and you don't find any people run up and down and say, oh boy, can we buy property on Marshfield? Hell no. But down there at City Hall, they're trying to run that. People are fighting. People are screaming. This next election, when Alderman come up, you're going to have 10, 11 candidates in every single ward fighting to be an alderman because they get paid $120,000, $130,000 a year. And they got power. I said, you want to run something, this is what you want to run. I said, look across the street, there's a State of Illinois building. State of Illinois is where the governor, they get the money to give to the city. These are the things you want to run. Don't run 79th and Marshfield. You go shoot and die and kill.